Hi, my name is Nick Matson, and I did a self-audit today of Northwest Missouri State University. Um, so, a self-audit is basically checking three prongs that check your program to see if you are following Title IX, um, the the Title IX rules. Um, so basically, a program only has to pass one prong to remain eligible, um, or else that they obviously have some things that they need to get done to become eligible. The Title IX compliance framework kind of looks like this. Component one is effective accommodation of athletic interests and ability. Um, so you can check one of three things. The three prongs are substantial proportionality, or history and continuing practice, or the full effective accommodation. Today I chose the substantial proportionality, which is the ratio of male athletic participation and female athletic participation. They must be proportional to each other, to the ratio of the male enrollment and female enrollment in the school. The history and continuing practice, which I did not do, is the schools have to show the continuing of practice in the recent past of their sports offerings for women. And then the full and effective accommodation, the school must show that the athletics interest and athletic abilities of the institution's female enrollment have been fully and effectively accommodated. Just again, making sure that you're caught up to date on the female side of your athletic program. So, like I said, I chose prong one. Um, and again, the ratios of male athletic participation and female athletic participation must be substantially proportional to the ratio of male enrollment and female enrollment at the school. I chose Northwest Missouri State University athletics. That's where I got my undergrad from. So I chose to do a self-audit on them today. Their total undergrad enrollment that participates in athletics is 512 student athletes. There are 309 men and 203 women. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to compute the female enrollment percentage. So you take that by finding the number of enrolled girls at the school, dividing it by the total number of students enrolled at the school. I did a search. I found these numbers. Um, there are 5,618 students enrolled at Northwest Missouri State University in the undergrad program. The number of girls at that school is 3,146, which gives you a percentage of 56% of the enrollment at Northwest are females. The second is to compute the unduplicated female participation rate. So that means that the girls that are participating in one or more sports, that was a total of 138 divided by the number of total students participating in one or more sports. Okay, so that's 371. So right there, your percentage is 37.19%. The next thing you need to do is compute the duplicated female participation rate. So you're just adding in the numbers of the girls that might. I know a lot of girls run track, and some play basketball, or some play softball and run track, or the cross country and track. You add those together of because on the pass side it only counts per individual, not per what sport they play. So this is the number of total participation by girls in all sports compared to the number of total participation of boys and girls in all sports. So as you can tell, there's about roughly 60 girls that do more than one sport. And like I said, that can be track and cross country. It can be, I know girls that play softball and run track. And so as you can see, then the boys number is a little higher too for those guys that play football and run track, baseball and run, things like that. The fourth thing that you need to do is find the unduplicated participation variance. That's where you take number one, which is the female enrollment percentage, and you subtract that by number 2, which is the unduplicated female participation rate. So when you do that, you get 56% minus 37.19%, which gives you roughly 18.81%. The fifth thing that you do is find the duplicated participation variance, which again is taking number 1, which is your female enrollment percentage, and then you subtract number 3, which is your duplicated female participation rate. So when you do that, it's 56% subtracted 39.64 from that, which gives you 16.36%. So basically, when you add those formulas up all together, your results are your unduplicated participation variance is 18.81%, and your duplicated participation variance is 16.63%. So what do these rules mean, or what do the results mean? If your participation variance exceeds 5%, most courts would rule that your program is not compliant with Title IX. That percentage is way too high. Northwest exceeds that 5% by a long shot. However, you only need to comply with one of the 3 prongs. So with most athletic programs, I would assume maybe you go through one self-audit and maybe it doesn't comply. So you move to the next one, and I would guess surely for most, at least one would apply out of the 3. Or else obviously you're in some trouble. So that comes to the question of why self-audit. So to make sure you're qualifying your program for one of the 3 prongs, if somebody came at you and said, we're doing an investigation, we don't think you're following the Title IX rules and compliance, then you could say, okay, feel free. I've done what I need to do. Which goes to the second point, which is checking yourself along the way so you don't get caught up in some issue that you're not ready for. And then just to make sure that your successful athletic program is qualifying with your Title IX, just like you would want to qualify with recruiting, like you would want to qualify with scheduling, scholarships, all kinds of aspects. You have to make sure that your Title IX is applied in there too. When you think about this self-audit, I guess you always want to make sure that no matter what, your boys' programs and your girls' programs are equally fair. A self-audit is just another way to hold yourself accountable, to hold your coaches accountable, to hold your administrators accountable, or to show them, hey, I'm looking ahead to the future. I'm making sure this is taken care of and that is taken care of, just in case anybody would ever have any questions, or come at you with a scenario or a situation where maybe they don't quite understand what's going on, and then you can reassure them that what you guys are doing is a good thing. I feel like self-auditing yourself over the time periods is much better than if somebody comes to you with an investigation and all of a sudden you have to start pulling numbers from this year and that year, and you have to try to figure things out on your own, as opposed to just kind of keeping up as it goes. Once, like I said before, that way you're checking yourself to make sure that you don't end up getting caught in a situation that you really don't want to be in. I feel like if you do find problems, you need to go talk to the people above you, let them know what's going on, talk to your coaches, talk to the staff, talk to everybody that's involved, and let them be aware of what you found. Just because maybe you don't pass a prong doesn't mean to just necessarily move to the next one to see if you comply to hit 1 out of 3. I think a more realistic approach would be to look and see what you can do to pass that prong, to maybe get all 3 prongs passed. That way you have no questions asked. You are on top of it. And I understand that not all things can possibly be passed, but if you are going through and you find the 3 things, the 3 prongs aren't passed, then you might have to find yourself in a sticky situation to where maybe now you're having to make cuts. Maybe now you're making budget cuts. Maybe now you're having those conversations with people that you don't really want to have, that you are trying to ignore. So to me, I guess the problem would be there is no problem as long as you keep yourself audited throughout these years, which I think is why we obviously have this in place. Here are my sources. Found a lot of good stuff from nces.ed.gov and same from ope.ed.gov. That's where I pulled all my numbers from, and that is my self audit.